The Wendy Foley Dance School. I decided that we wanted to add and learn a new skill. Not a random skill, but a usable creative one, which we could utilise together. Something that would add a further dimension to aspects of the relationship notions within our performance works. Surprisingly, the Arts Council of England agreed to give us a grant to study Latin American and ballroom dancing. This was going to be a challenge for both of us, as neither of us had much knowledge of what was involved, and so it proved. Climbing the narrow stairs above a shop, we found that it consisted of a rectangular dance floor area which was seemingly ample in size and was surrounded by long mirrors and seating. Hanging from the ceiling in the middle was, of course, a revolving glitter ball. Up the far end was a rather tired and old-looking sound system. This pumped out the dance beat for both Latin and ballroom music. Next door, at the far end of the dance floor, was a triangular-shaped barroom with windows down one side. The owner was a formidable lady called Wendy Foley, who was just an amazing sight and a person of some character. A skinny, near anorexic-looking woman in her 50s, this was an East End lady of strong will and nature. From a male perspective, she was a bit scary and took no prisoners in the way she interacted with people, especially when it came to men. She always seemed to have a ciggy on the go somewhere and had that smoker's type of cough sound, often rattling from her chest. Wendy was the type of person who looked at you sideways, eyed you up and down before you said a word, and seemed to have got the measure of you instantly. From the outset, neither of us could help but warm to her, even when she said what she thought in such a direct manner that it was close to rudeness. She knew her subject well and taught it in an uncompromising manner. When she barked out an order, you did as you were told, partly out of fear. Her sidekick, or rather assistant, was a large Irish lady called Eileen. She was also in her late 40s or early 50s and was a lot more approachable and down to earth than Wendy, less confrontational, with a warm, kind face. She had big hips and a large bottom, and when she stood in a static pose, she did not look anything like a dancer or indeed a dance instructor. But when you danced with her or watched her on the dance floor, she became a completely different physical being. She became transformed into this fairy-like figure, so light on her feet, as light as a feather floating through the air. We were amazed at her abilities, and especially her sense of timing and rhythm. She seemed to effortlessly sway and tune her body into any rhythm or beat. We would attend once or sometimes twice a week. One night, back in the East End after the class, we were all stood in the glittery, run-down bar having a gin and tonic. As usual, there was no ice and no lemon, but this time we were lucky, as there was tonic, so it was bearable. Wendy was behind the bar with that long fag between the fingers of her right hand. She was eyeing all of us up and down with her smoky glazed stare, when suddenly burst in a man in a gorilla suit. We all sort of jumped a little, but not too much, as it seemed somehow in keeping with the place. "Is Wendy here? Wendy Foley?" he asked. "Yes, that's her, there behind the bar," we replied. As ever, Wendy remained near silent and fixed him with her "What do you want, you little shit" expression. Mouth down at the corners, she was static, giving him the grimmest look she could muster. Then, in a rather unconvincing manner, he started to sing. I cannot remember the exact words he sang, but it was obviously her birthday, which we were completely unaware of. It slowly dawned on us that this bloke, dressed in this rather pathetic costume, was her gorillagram birthday present from somebody we certainly did not know. Wendy never revealed anything about her past, present, or her relationships to us. No one seemed to know anything of a personal nature about her. Worse was to come from the human gorilla. While singing, he started to strip in front of us. Okay, at last we got it. He was obviously a strippogram. As he sang and stripped out of his costume, he tried to excite Wendy with winks, thumbs up, and suggestive hip movements. As you can imagine, this was not cutting the mustard with our Wendy in any way, shape or form. By now the person to watch was not him at all, but Wendy with her deadly expression. She was an amazing sight to behold. She hardly moved a muscle. This skinny, intelligent woman just fixed him with a deadly stare and occasionally pulled and pushed her smoking cigarette in and out of her red lipsticked mouth. It was like watching a professional actor doing a live take to camera. The glitter ball was turning next door, and every few moments lit up her face in a silver screen-like fashion. We all became motionless too, and concentrated intensely on Wendy's reaction. After he had rather awkwardly removed most of his attire, she suddenly, without hesitation, repetition or deviation, pulled what seemed like that smoking gun from her mouth and barked, "Stop just there, sunshine. Your underpants could do with a good wash." Well, that just brought the house down. We all screamed with laughter. The strippogram, in his off-white underpants, dropped his shoulders, crestfallen, and shrank a little bit on the spot. He then proceeded to collect his clothing and shot out of the door as fast as he could. It was pure theatrics, and it was pure performance. In a way, it illustrated life in the East End of London, on the edge, without frills, and direct. It was come dancing meets a sticky beer mat and a soggy full ashtray.